Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the sad, pathetic life of Boogie2988 Part 2. I am here with my glorious... No, okay, we're going to talk about other stuff, right? He's not the only manipulative person we're going to be talking... God, don't to start. Me and Muda, the co-host. Woo! Tim is here also, the GOAT himself.
How's it going?
And Caleb is drowning in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, probably.
Dude, that man is literally single-handedly sending diabetes to the rest of the world. Goddamn, bro.
I'm representing Caleb's stash for him, even though he shaved it.
Oh,
God,
for Caleb.
What a character.
Caleb's candy is so good, but man, it's like, you can tell it's like Texan candy, because it like, ain't no they don't give a shit about like how much sugar they're putting in that. It's sweet, delicious, amazing, but it's
Tim was
definitely
talking about
America.
his mustache, not his like candy stash.
Yeah.
And to that I say, I'm very excited for the Sunny V2 video, the terrifying downfall of Oompaville's mustache. I will watch the fuck out of that video.
Jesus Christ. So, Tim, you're a man that has made some enemies with big anti-cheat and big game.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to start off with obviously Tarkov. I want to start off with the biggest scam in gaming. How the f are you feeling about Star Citizen? You knew it was gonna go there.
Man, I mean, so on one hand, I made a video I actually retitled it after the fact because it was getting more views when Starfield, stuff was, hitting the news. But I kind of pitted Starfield and Star Citizen, together in a video, and that didn't age so well either. So it just seems like these games with these huge scopes are just so difficult to make. I have 10-year-old daughters, and at some point they're going to be like 16 or 17, like driving and going to college or something, and Star Citizen is still going to be in development.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's the same thing with GTA 6. That shit got announced yesterday, and everyone's doing this like when GTA 5 came out, and like, oh, where am I at now? And I'm like, dude, I'm like old now, bro. Like when GTA 5 dropped, I was like coming out of high school, like I was entering college, and now I'm just like, now I feel like a bitter old fucking man by the time they announced 6.
It's been over 10 years, and they released a trailer. Did you see the trailer for the Squadron 42 recently?
I did.
And it looks cool, but it's kind of what they've done in the past, and they did the hold the line thing, and they're claiming they're in late stage development, and they're like feature complete or something. But I mean, you watch the trailer, and it's like stuttering and barely able to get like even 30 FPS and throughout the trailer. So I don't know, man. It's sad.
It feels like those fucking crypto games. And just to bring Nux in, Nux, you know about Star Citizen, right? Like
I've heard about it, but I'm not in the loop.
So to fill you in, this is like one of the most bloated game developments that we've ever seen in history, right? Like I don't know I don't exactly remember the budget. I think it's like $600 million, right? Like that's how expensive we're talking about. But here's the fun part. That money, a lot of it is coming from the crowdfunding guys, okay? So let me give you an idea. So it's a space game where you can be anybody, right? Like you're the Star Citizen. Like if you want to be a space homeless guy, you can be a space homeless guy. If you want to be like a space like crack dealer, you can be a crack dealer. Bounty, pirate hunter, trader, whatever the you wanted to, all of that shit. So the thing about it is with Star Citizen is the biggest way they make money is they sell you like these ship pledges. So some of them are like $40, like reasonable. Some of them are like $10,000, $15,000. Like we are talking the price of a fucking car right now. Okay, like there is somebody.
This is just space metaverse.
It is space metaverse, and the thing is, it's like this game I have been waiting for now since before my YouTube channel. Like around the time I started my YouTube channel. This fucker, Chris Roberts, who, by the way, he's this guy that's like a super perfectionist, and it takes like, we're talking the only way that he made games. This is like a real story. So he was working on this game called Freelancer, and he was like, dude, I'm gonna make this a fucking crazy project. Some guy from Microsoft fucking walks into the office like, hey, Chris, buddy, that game, we want it fucking out. Like we were talking, this dude had some regimen going on. He's like, you're releasing a product, okay? We are putting this
Dude,
on
this
a
is just
shelf.
Yandere Dev, except also doesn't grew miners.
And they kicked him off the project. Like they completely kicked him off, said we don't want any more of your input. We're going to finish this without you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you have to like pretty much take this perfectionist off. So now he's got a blank check by the community to just develop this game, and it's pretty much developed indefinitely. Now, don't get me wrong. there is a game here. I made a whole video on it. I actually played it, and to an extent, I kind of enjoyed it a little bit because I'm like, oh, I can see where they're going with this. But then to understand, this game runs like a fucking crippled senior at a retirement home. Okay, we were talking 10 frames. We were talking on the best hardware. Like this is very much like the most alpha project, and the community in the Discord. It's like it's like the cult of Scientology. Okay, they will never motherfucking leave their little cult bubble. They will tell you, listen, it's an alpha. This is like the next big game. They have a plan for technology like server meshing stuff where apparently you can leave like a fucking water bottle on a planet like on the other side of the galaxy, and you can go all the way to the other side of the galaxy like legit to scale, and that water bottle will exist. People will tell you this is like without a doubt one of the most functionally insane things to do, but yet they're going for it. They're actually designing technology that like if they made it, they would be like it would be 10 20 times more like financially like beneficial to not make a game but to lease this to some people. So we are literally looking at a fucking company trying to produce actual like digital magic.
Yeah.
And that's the story of Star Citizen, like quite literally. And so every time they release an update to this game, the single player game, which by the way, before that update that Tim talked about, that video, we were sitting here for 5 years, okay? We were talking Bethesda ass time,
like in the dark.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And you think like for a crowdfunding project, right? Like, okay, if Bethesda doesn't want to talk about like Elder Scrolls for like 10 years, that's cool. We're not giving them money, right? Like it's their game. But dog, we are their like financial backers. This is a video game. This is a video game company that hasn't released even one game, and yet they have like an entire convention around the unreleased game.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild. And the people that support it, I mean,
Sounds like a pyramid scheme, right? Like
exactly.
You're just funneling more and more money into the hype of it, but not in itself.
And they have to keep
NFTs.
growing it. They have to keep growing this follower base, or else like, what's going to happen? It's going to collapse on itself.
Wild.
Like, it's insane
So
because
they're
like,
literally pulling money into this without any actual product. It's purely based on the hype of it.
They have a test environment that's multiplayer, but it is a cluster. Like after I made my video, I got a lot of people saying, well, you need to play it more and all this. So I got on with a pretty prominent streamer who plays, and we couldn't even be like we couldn't be in the same room and know whether one of us had left or not because the desync was so bad. So she would like go up to the pilot seat to like play, to take off. And like she's still standing in the room with me, and then like, and it was like that for 4 or 5 hours. And the NPCs are on the ceiling and upside down and floating.
Oh,
and,
you only tried it for 4 or 5 hours? How can you make a judgment call after just 4 or 5 hours?
Listen,
you
unlike
gotta
Tim
sink
here,
20,000 hours into the game first.
Unlike Tim here, I put a whole week's worth of a job, 40 hours into the thing. Still wasn't good. When he's this game gets downright like horror mode. Okay, like he's not around with the NPCs. Like so let me explain how it is. Like in a normal video game, you probably click a few menus and get right to the action, right? This game, you wake up in your apartment on a fucking planet, right? You wake up, you rub your eyes a little bit, you check your little like journal, your little like smartphone for what jobs you have, you say yes to it. Then you go to the first floor of your apartment, you go to the subway terminal, you take the subway to the spaceport, you call your ship, you get into it, you follow exact departure procedures, and then you fly and do your stuff. That's how anal this game is, right? Like it's cool. Like it's cool when I tell people it. Like it's like,
I think you
wow,
told this
really
to me before,
immersive.
and like I mentioned, it reminds me of the Rick and Morty episode with the overly realistic video games, where it's it's Street Fighter, except both players wake up at different sides of the city, and they have to go through all their chores of the day before actually meeting up to fight.
But see, like when you describe it like that, I'm like, oh, that kind of sounds a little cool. And then like my brain like actually wakes up, and I'm like, yeah, that's stupid. Actually, 20 minutes. Like, have you ever played this game called Shenmue, like back on the Dreamcast?
No, but I heard of it. I know of it.
Man, Dreamcast
let me
good
explain
days
this
though.
game. Dude, so this is a revenge story, right? The way that I describe it, it's a revenge story where you have to occasionally do your taxes.
Caleb!
That's how fucking insane it is.
What's up, fellas?
What's up, Caleb? How's it going, brother?
Pretty good, bud.
God,
How you
I
doing?
miss your mustache. Please
Yeah, it's
grow
going.
it
I look
back.
weird.
I was
really
telling
weird. It's going
everyone I was a
back.
stand-in for your mustache for today.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we've got like a fucking stunt double for
Yeah,
that
we knew
shit
you were
right
going to
now.
be late, so we just messaged all the contacts with mustaches. We had to get...
Yeah, I made the
Right.
final list.
Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by our friends over at ExpressVPN, ladies and gentlemen. Are you like me, ladies and gentlemen, and do you want your privacy? Do you want your IP masked? Or are you somebody that just wants to watch Netflix from other regions without having to get a plane ticket and fly to another part of the world? Well, today, ExpressVPN is here to let you control all of that. ExpressVPN lets you choose from 100 different countries, all with fast servers, so you don't even have to think about geo-restricted content. And if you want to conceal your location from other sites and services, well, again, like they've said, you've got 100 countries to pick from. You can hide anywhere in the world. The reason why we pick ExpressVPN is it creates the perfect balance of privacy, speed, and, well, ease of use. All you can do is download their application on multiple devices, your computer, and then basically just log in and connect to any of these servers, all within minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Seconds, if you're fast enough. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check out 3 months free and get access to geo-restricted content, all without cutting that flight ticket somewhere else. Check out expressvpn.com/SOP. Ladies and gentlemen, that's an extra 3 months at ExpressVPN for free if you go to expressvpn.com/SOP. That said, let's get back to the podcast.
That's awesome.
So this is Tim. We brought him over here. He talks about video games and video game cheats and fancy. And your recent video actually was one that I was gonna watch actually just before this, but I was working on my own thing. You're looking at like RuneScape felons now. You're looking at like criminals.
Yeah.
And that
So
shit?
you guys may have heard about Josh Pillaw. He's the guy that he was in a RuneScape chat and he was going back and forth with this troll. And this was years ago, like 2012, 2013, something like that. And he's he's late up at night. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning, and he's going back and forth with this troll. And to keep this monetized, I'll kind of PG it up a little bit. But the guy's telling him to end his life and all this. And Josh responds, "Well, you think I'm going to do that? I'll do this." And so they get into this little back and forth. And he essentially says he's going to shoot up a school, which is a really bad thing to say. Not a smart thing to say.
Even.
And and he freely admits this. So he's gone on a redemption arc and says, this was a terrible thing for me to do. However, the punishment was a little over the top. The gaming company who owns RuneScape sent messages. Jagex sent messages to the authorities, and like the next day, the FBI shows up at his house with guns out and raids his house, which, rightfully
That's
so.
extreme,
I mean,
I guess.
you said you're going to shoot up a school, so that's kind of what should happen. But it gets worse. So he spends 7 years in federal prison for this. He doesn't have a gun. He doesn't have a plan. He's never it was all just talk on RuneScape. And any gamer can look at that chat and go, yeah, that was too far, but
that was a very tasteless joke.
Yeah, but
You went 7 years to prison.
7 years, yeah.
Shit that he wrote on RuneScape.
So I've heard him talk about this a lot. So he did a lot of podcasts and he has his own YouTube channel and he's talked about it, but it's always from his perspective. So I was like, you know what? I don't really buy this. This doesn't make any sense. That's way too much of a harsh punishment. There has to be more to this. So I went and pulled all the documents from the court system.
Ooh,
and
okay.
which no one's done this. So I got the transcripts of him talking to the judge and all this kind of stuff. And they hit him with 2 charges. One was because he said he was going to level the school. That's like a explosion thing for like property. Okay. So they hit them with that, which has like a 10 or 15 year sentence. And then the threat of violence is like another 10 years or something. So he was facing some serious charges. So he ended up taking a plea deal because he was like, I don't want to. My whole life's going to be over. But essentially, I went through the transcripts, and there's a lot of stuff that no one really knows about. Number one, they went to his ex-girlfriends. So the prosecutors went to his ex-girlfriends and asked them about like, hey, has he ever like thought about pipe bombs or anything like this?
Oh my god, dude! And
here's the thing. One of the ex-girlfriends, who I got her phone number, I got all her details and everything. I found her yearbook. I tracked this girl down, and I tried contacting her, and she won't talk to me. But essentially, the story is the prosecution's or the prosecutor's son was dating the girlfriend, the ex-girlfriend. And he was,
my God!
So listen to this. He was underage. He was like, so the son was under 18, and then the girl, the ex-girlfriend, was, probably like 19 at the time or 18. And so they threatened her with charges if she didn't comply and stuff. And they gave her a PowerPoint, okay? To like, this is what you're going to say. This is, when I ask you this question, you say this. Because it was just a deposition, right? They didn't actually go to trial. So she sits in front of the camera in the prosecution office and just answers all the questions. And so Josh, after this gets, found out, he texts her and is like, what the hell? What's going on? Like, what did you tell them?
She's
like,
thinking about pipe bombs. And
he goes, I didn't even know what any of that meant, but I just said yes. And she basically has a conversation with him coming clean that she was afraid of being prosecuted for,
being
stuff.
a pedophile.
Yeah. And so, and she didn't want any of it. So to make matters worse, Josh told her that he was going to marry her when he gets out of prison, right? So he's like trying to smooth things over. Well, he ends up dating this other girl, and and that pisses off his ex-girlfriend even more, and she's like not going to work with him. Now, this all hinges on this text message, So no one's been able to verify this. So I got Josh to send me all the unredacted text messages, and I saw that the number at the top was mostly obscured, right? But it'll show some of the numbers. And I found her name. He didn't know that I had her name. I had her name from the court documents. And I went and looked up her name. I hired a PI guy and connected the name and number. And it's like, dude, that's actually her. So I was able to verify that those conversations were most likely 100% legit or whatever. So I went into this thinking Josh is this terrible guy and he's probably deserves it. And a lot of what he was saying wasn't true. And then I found out like a lot of more stuff. So,
dude, my jaw is on the floor. That's insane.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I watched that video, by the way.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So 7 years in prison. And then I found out about this other guy who did kind of a similar thing. It wasn't as bad. And, kind of covered his story as well. But yeah, it's wild.
Dude, justice system is so fucked. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, like that's just because on the surface level, you're like 7 years for like internet trolling is like excessive, but now when you add in all that, it's like, dude, wow.
And all their evidence hinged on this idea that he was going to do it. And so they used the ex-girlfriend's testimony as evidence of that, right? So, and he'll freely admit, like, I should have probably gone to jail. They should have raided my house. But after that, it's like, come on, So, luckily, he's doing better now. I think in his own words, he would tell you going to prison in some ways probably saved his life. I think he even said in my interview with him that he would probably be dead or off even worse had he continued on that path. He had alcohol problem and he was pretty much a loser, at the time. But yeah,
so he really
pretty
thinks
wild.
that prison is like scared straight. I got slapped 7 years in like good boy school. I mean, like in this case, you can say that the prison system kind of worked for him if he comes out reformed.
Yeah. And then I interviewed a guy who got caught up on charges for a very similar thing, and for him it ruined his life. He had everything that can go wrong in prison went wrong for him. Essentially, that's what happened to him, and it was not a net positive. So.
Yeah, it's like a kind of a.
Oh my
but the
God,
thing is, it's
that's
like, man,
story.
It's so wild. Like maybe it's just like I don't know what state you kind of have to be in order to like get in that kind of trouble. And I always hear about like stories of people who make shit like who start beef online and somehow they end up in prison because of their actions online. I'm like, what is so hard about just getting off of logging off and going somewhere else,
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like every time I post something or like send a message to someone, I always think about like what would happen if this message like got leaked or like
I'm with you.
what is the implication of some message, right? Like you got to be kind of careful. You're kind of walking on eggshells, especially with who you interact and how you interact with them on the internet, right?
Yeah. Especially if you're well known, man. I mean, that stuff's going to come back to haunt you, as we're finding out.
Yeah. Well, one of the people that we find out with. Go ahead, Max.
No, take it away. We know where it's going. Let's just do it. Rip the Band-Aid off.
Dude, I honestly cannot stand Boogie2988, dude. I don't know if you guys have seen that documentary.
I did,
at all.
Yeah.
Fucking insane shit. that I've seen in the last like week. We had the guy who made the documentary on last episode, Mike Klum. And he's a super cool guy. Like, he definitely put a lot of effort into that production.
Oh, yeah.
And great documentary. Cool, good work and everything. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't understand how egotistical you have to be to have somebody make a documentary like that, have watched it, and still have said over a message, yeah, it's good to make this public. Yeah, this is really good, by the way.
I'll tell you why. I was wondering the same exact thing, because he looks horrible throughout the entire documentary, okay? Man's in financial ruin and begging people for money because he blew $200,000 on hookers and random shit all over the place.
$700,000 on fucking cryptocurrency.
And that, okay? Listen, and as it goes on, it keeps sounding worse and worse, and how he feels so entitled. I'm entitled to sexy LA 10 out of 10 women. Right? Like, the way he would describe that was also so weird. But I think the reason why is because at the end of the documentary, when he called his shaman and he had his whole weird psychedelic trip.
That was the most insane shit.
He ends this documentary saying, I'm all better now. I could finally leave the past behind me. Past Boogie is not the same as present Boogie. Past Boogie had all sorts of traumas and stuff, but I've solved all of those now. I have seen nirvana and enlightenment. I am a new man. So yes, see me for the slime that I used to be.
Or something.
But I have reawakened. You cannot judge me for my past actions anymore.
His situation was so wild to me. When I saw that documentary, I saw $700,000 lost in crypto. Like, how much money has anybody here gambled in crypto? Like, ever? Like,
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, five grand, $4,000,
maybe.
$5,000.
But
around
not
there, yeah,
gambled.
me is
Like, I bought a
as well.
Bitcoin. Like, that was...
I literally gambled with it. I bought $5,000 of ETH, and then I started gambling with it.
Yeah, I actually had an ETH farm. I had an ETH mining thing back in the day, but yeah.
So it's actually great that you said this, Caleb. So when you bought this digital currency, which is what it's marketed as, it was like going to a fucking Vegas casino for you. You were like, what?
Yeah.
Whole market of shit coins.
Yeah.
Let's see what I throw it into the
Dude,
slot
you
machine
only
for.
invest what you're expecting to lose.
And I'm also not sure if this is legal, but that was a tax return.
You just gotta make a video about it.
That was my refund. That was my refund.
Oh,
I
gotcha.
took every year I just waste my refund because I always overpay in taxes. I just waste it. 'Cause I'm like,
We
it
are
wasn't
now
mine
filming
anyways, you know?
the first episode of Caleb's Downfall documentary.
Oh yeah, dude, that was 2 years ago.
It's like the Sunny V2, how this YouTuber fucked his taxes or something.
No, my that was when I made the $250,000 Muda with that money.
Yeah, and you bought like what? You bought like Asscoin or something, right?
Yeah,
like,
so I bought
forget
ETH
exactly.
and then I swapped it out with what's the one that
Dogecoin?
No, the other one, it's like starts with a B, Bitrex or
There's a few.
There's a lot. There's a couple.
But it's Binance Coin. That's what it is. Yeah, the one where you can buy all the shit coins, like the really unregulated
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, so the
I know what you're
Binance
talking
Smart
about.
Chain and everything. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I went to the Smart Chain. I went to the Smart Chain, swapped out my ETH for some Binance, and then I invested heavily in Asscoin, and then I made about $250,000 overnight, and then it all went away the next day.
Dude, it's like 50 years from now, people will dig up this story and like be like, did he go to the first metaverse strip club and just throw it all on asses? Like, what the fuck?
I lost all of it.
So your value is 200,000, but the thing is, like, what most people don't understand about like crypto shit is like when you have $200,000 that you just threw the fuck in, it's like you have to have the liquidity to swap it out, right? Like you could have $200,000 worth of something, but if there's only $1,000 worth of liquidity to swap, you only get $1,000 back. So everyone just ends up losing anyways.
I'm ready for the Mike Klum documentary, The Dark Sad Life of Caleb's Tax Returns.
Yeah, it all started.
My tax returns are awesome.
Dude, when the government comes back, do you think they just know at this point? It's like, we give this man money, and he just pisses it all away.
Well, it's money that I already gave them, though. It's a refund.
Yeah.
So they're not giving me any money. They're giving me my own money back that I overpaid.
So they could have just put it into Asscoin itself. They might as well just send you back a letter and be like, you want us to do this for
I mean, I'd rather invest in Asscoin than the United States government.
That
Amen.
is true.
Amen.
I fucking love that, dude. I love that shit. So the thing with him is like $700,000. That's like
A lot of money.
I mean, it is a lot of
That's
money,
an
but
insane amount of money.
Dude,
I'm kind of
especially
like
if you look at
picture
his
it.
thing, right? He says that I don't expect to live more than 10 more years based on all of his medical stuff. Okay, that's what he literally said.
Pretty accurate.
And why would he gamble away $700,000? You could live
it's
the
so
next 10
baffling
years
to
on
me.
that.
Like it's kind of a baffling thing to me. It's like, imagine just like having $700,000 like liquid just sitting around. Like, what people don't understand is like liquid money and investments are totally different, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of investments exist, but you can't just pull them out there, right? Like if you buy property, you can't just immediately sell it off. There's a lot of shit associated. But like when you have literal 700 like money that you can withdraw right now at a fucking bank, that's crazy. You think, why the fuck do you have that much sitting around? You should probably invest it. He could have invested that. We had Schlatt on here as one of our first 20 episodes. He's not a financial advisor, but he straight up gave the best advice. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing, just buy index funds, okay? This isn't financial advice, all right? But again, financial advisors, go out to them. They'll probably tell you similar stories. No one in a million fucking years would tell you to buy shit coins. He gets this advice from like McJuggernuggets, right? Like his friend. And I'm like, dude, you're going to sit there. Like, first off, you're going to sit in a call with YouTubers privately, and you're going to fucking base your financial decisions off of that? Like, come on, dude. It's like sitting with XQC and talking about how to avoid gambling. Like, dude, I'm sorry, bro. It's like, what the fuck? You're in this world. So he buys all this money, loses it, and it's like, I don't know how anybody can like feel bad for a character, because I've had people who are like, don't you feel bad? I'm like, no, dude, I don't feel bad for any of that. Why?
And I think what makes it worse is like he's self-aware of how bad his situation is and how he's continued to repeat the same mistakes over and over. And almost the documentary feels like he's coping and trying to, hey, look how sad my life is. Look, you know?
That's what
And
it's about.
He
He feels
it's too
like he's
self-aware.
entitled to things because he's a
Yeah.
victim.
Yeah,
The thing that with me too is like that job interview stuff. So nobody probably has seen this clip of the job interview, but he goes to this recruiting agency and he sits in front of this lady and she's like, okay, so tell me about yourself. So, okay, well, let's do like a mock interview.
Yeah,
Okay,
All right,
I'm a
I got
recruiter.
you. I
You're
got you.
applying for a job. Give me the best things about it. Come on.
All right, so
Wait, what
you're
are we-
the
what are we
you're
doing?
the
So
interviewer.
we're doing like a
Doing some role
we're doing
play.
like a mock job interview, right? Like you're
Okay.
with a recruiter. I'm the recruiter. Give me your
hell
best
yeah.
qualities.
My best qualities, pretty persistent. One time I made $250,000 in AskCoin
Wow, so you're a
by making
financial
an executive
genius.
decision.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Brilliant.
morbidly obese, will probably die in 10 years, chronically depressed, worked in porn. If you look me up online, you might see people on Twitter calling me a pedophile. Oh wait, that was what Boogie said.
That's literally word for word what he said. And when I heard that, I'm like, dude, you just like that's like throwing away your interview question. Like you're gonna sit down and look. And I get being honest. It's good to be honest during a recruiting situation. But dog, you don't have to be that honest. You know.
and to put this into perspective, she didn't know who he was, and he introduces himself as Boogie. Like that alone. This is a traditional job interview. Like they don't know what that means. Boogie, like you know.
Yeah, they're like, wait, what the? Where did you get this name out of?
And you like saw her face just go like, oh, that's not a joke. Okay.
Oh, dude, when he mentioned, if you look me up online, you might see me hear about me beating my wife. She's just like, bro, right there, you can see the Windows like end task, like
Yeah, that was
this
it.
process has failed.
It was
just kick up. I'm
instantly
like, she's
over.
out. And then like he's like, I worked in the industry, and she's like, hold on, now stop, wait a minute. Do you think it was smart? Like she acts like he was a fucking child. I'm like, dude, insanity. But it's not even the interview that me. It's the call he does afterwards where he's like, dude, I don't know why I should get some job. I have 4 million subscribers. I'm like an OG YouTuber. I'm like, what do you mean some job? Like, why is that like such a fucking dirty word? I had that Breaking Bad moment where Skylar's like, why do you think charity is such a bad word? I'm like, dude, that's like, just replace charity with job for him. Like, what? Why? Like, it's so...
And then
I wanna say, like,
he sends that voice message to Mike Klum in middle of the interview saying, "Guys, I think I have 4 million subscribers on YouTube."
Yeah, that's the
What?
yeah.
You think
And
I'm
he's-
gonna get a job?
Yeah, he's just sitting there like that, and then he gets this like crazy. And the thing is, like, the discrepancies are insane to figure out because just shortly before filming this, in the documentary, he's like, in 1 year he makes $498,000, right? And then I'm watching an interview he does 5 months ago with another YouTuber where it's just like, the best month is I made 30,000 with sponsors in a month, right? That's his best month ever. So I'm like, if you took your best month and multiplied it by 12, you still don't reach that year of revenue. So I'm like, what's going on in this situation? Like, there's so many lies, discrepancies, and of course, like, obviously, people on the internet are going to talk about stuff that you make public. That's just the nature of it, right? Like, and forget the finances. The whole idea of like him listing off every illness he had, like, I have all these medical problems, and then the shot right after is like, let's go to Taco Bell. I'm like, dude, you're f***ing yourself over. Like, I'm sorry, how do you feel bad?
Especially because all those medical problems were self-induced too. Like, he wants you to feel bad for him for all of the medical problems, but every single one of those medical problems is just a symptom of morbid obesity.
Yeah.
Dude, my dad hated that section because I showed it to him because I'm like, hey, Dad, can you give me some advice on these like medical complications? Like, how can you fix it? My dad's like, bro, he's listing them off like he's listing them off so professionally. My dad just like, he's like, 85% of this could be avoided if you didn't eat the Taco Bell. Like, my dad, cardiologist, right? And the thing that pisses him off is when like people have to come into the like office anytime, and he's just like, dude, I really wish you followed like a doctor's advice like a year, 2 years ago and changed it around because I don't like seeing you in my office, okay? Especially big people, because my dad's like, it's impossible to, like, heart surgery is not easy. Heart surgery on a big person? Oh man, that's like trying to defuse a goddamn atomic bomb. Like, me.
Like, yeah, they're like a liability just sitting there on the table, you know? It's like, ugh.
Yeah. And so, like, and that's some of the things. It's like, I can't feel bad for people. And maybe this is, like, really sociopathic of me, but I can't feel bad for somebody that just doesn't do anything to change their life.
And somebody doesn't feel bad for themselves in a way that's meaningful. I was expecting the documentary to be a chance where he could do a redemption arc and turn around and all that, but, I mean, who are we kidding? Like, I think it's both lack of awareness plus the entitlement, combined.
Yeah.
It just has this recipe for disaster.
When we talk about like even the finances stuff, he's like, I need $7,000 or something. And I'm just like, dude, there is no shame in like downsizing your life. If you can't afford the lifestyle you live,
don't need to live in that house full of all the arcades and all that stuff.
Exactly. You can get like a fucking apartment. You can like sell off those fucking arcades, those goddamn Walmart 1-up arcades that are worth fucking nothing. They're just money pits to throw down. He could have absolutely downsized and lived life normally. Like,
and also the way, like, what it really rubbed me the wrong way also when he's saying that, I'm not gonna join the Magic tournament in the Magic shop? What, they're gonna think I'm broke? I don't want people to think I'm broke. Meanwhile, he's proudly pronouncing how broke he is on the internet so people could donate to him. Like,
and the one thing that like baffled me, it's like when he's coming to go his cost breakdown, the $7,000, he's like, I gotta buy Diablo 4. I gotta buy
Tears of the Kingdom. I saw that.
Dude,
yeah.
Any man that has to say I have to buy Diablo 4 is already fucking dead inside. Ain't nobody saying unironically I have to buy Diablo 4. I feel scammed buying Diablo 4. I haven't even finished that fucking game. And it's like, I gotta buy Final Fantasy like 16. I'm like, dude, I wish I lived a life where like, naturally, no, I do not. That's fucked up. I don't want to live a life where I felt entitled to that. But I'm like, dude, I wish life was actually that easy where I considered that like a necessary expense,
Yeah,
like,
and
insane shit.
And on top of all this, like I'm a smaller creator here. I'm earlier on in my YouTube career, and I would kill for this kind of attention. Like anybody up and coming, a streamer or a content creator, would kill for more eyeballs, a chance to grow, a chance to make more content, and he's squandering it. I mean, he could sell his house, he could start producing good content and creating original content if he wanted to today. Yeah. He could do that today. And so it's hard to feel sorry for someone like that, He
says that he works 9 to 5 on YouTube videos. There's no way he works 9 to 5 on YouTube videos. Like, I've seen his YouTube videos. His YouTube videos are, I think, 10 minutes of prep work and 10 minutes of recording and slapping it together and uploading it.
I mean, listen, as somebody that does nearly daily uploads, I'll tell you this much right now. There's a lot of videos that take you a lot less time to film. And then there's videos like, obviously researching Boogie, a 40-minute video is not like something that you do in the course of one day.
Right, obviously. But Boogie doesn't have any of those videos. Yeah. His videos are like, every single month he has the new How I F***ed Up My Life video talking about all that.
Yeah, and like nobody in the audience wants to see that shit, right? Like nobody wants to click on a... Like if you watch somebody f*** up their life, I think the best example is like Caleb, not in terms of up your life, but coming to terms with like a scam that you had, right? Like
shots fired.
Because like Caleb had like a scam that happened to him. Obviously, you can explain it the best way, like how bad things were for you, but you came out of it in a very positive light, and that's, you didn't make it into like, oh, fucking pity party, like please, woe is me. No, you had a beginning, middle, end. You explained how things were, and you turned it around, and you made it a pretty uplifting, insightful story that people could learn from.
Yeah, and also almost didn't even make a video about it because I was like, I'm just a fucking idiot. I'm just gonna try to do the best to like
get out of there.
Yeah, it was like tough to even come to terms with making a video. Like it happened in January, we made a video about it in July.
Yeah,
because you kind of got to sit there and be like, do I really want to like self roast myself this hard or something, right? Like maybe.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like, how will people react to this? I mean, obviously, I did everything that I possibly could have, and like everything is done. And then you can tell by the man who scammed me's reaction on Twitter after he was like a liar. And then the second video came out and he was like, okay, no, I'm just not going to talk anymore. So. Yeah. It was pretty cool. Like, we really trapped him. It was
looking
crazy.
Looking at Boogie's expenses, I don't know. Man has 900 million views on his YouTube channel, right? Like, I don't know where he came up with his numbers, but 900 million views is probably over $3 million.
Probably.
Like, just, guesstimating, it's probably more like $3.5 million. But,
yeah.
So I don't know where
again,
his
when you're throwing it away
was.
on like, when you're throwing it away on shitty coins and everything and hookers, like that money burns up pretty fast, right? It's like,
well, look,
now that you had a shroom problem
he made it really look like he only made like $750,000 on YouTube, when in actuality he probably, I don't know, this isn't an allegation or anything, but he probably made 5 times that.
I mean, it is what it is, right? Like you can only like, I guess. Like initially, I won't lie, I did feel bad because I'm like, oh, you're getting bullied on the internet. Maybe you're not the worst person in the world, and I still don't think he's the worst person in the world. It's hyperbole. There's a lot of bad people, but I think like part of me is when I think of like really like these pathological like liars on the internet that just want to be victims. Like I think I can speak for 100% of the people in this entire podcast. We work hard, right? Like we have a day-to-day life, and when we succeed, we're at our peaks, right? Mentally. When we f*** up, it throws us into like the worst spots ever. But I don't think anybody in this call has sat down in their biggest f*** up and said, okay, I f*** the world, everyone's against me. No, you kind of like, pick up your, you pick up your shit and you try to fix what you have and you make it work, right? Like nobody here gives up. Nobody does anything. This is a situation where like, this person threw themselves in the ground, and it's like, all right, I guess I don't want to get up. I'll have the world feel bad for me, and it just doesn't work that way. You can only feel bad for somebody for so long before it's just, dog, you got to do something.
Especially like because like we asked last week on the podcast, we talked about why we think he fell off, and Mike Klum had a very interesting insight. He said because he used to have up teeth. He used to be cute fat. Now he's just fat. That was Mike Klum's insight. I think the reason why he fell off is because the brand he was building that was actually gaining momentum was super nice guy, nice wholesome guy. And when it was revealed that this person that you subscribe to for being a nice wholesome guy is in fact not a nice wholesome guy, well, that destroys the YouTuber in your eyes completely. You just got betrayed by the person you subscribe to. I think it's like the Illuminati, that channel that she went through that whole thing.
Illuminati.
Yes. So Illuminati. So she, I think the reason why she fell off so hard was because her whole channel was based on unethical brands and taking down unethical brands, and then it turns out she was the most unethical brand that she ever spoke about. So that's why she lost everything, right? Losing everything as a YouTuber really, I think, comes hand in hand with betraying your audience.
Yeah, it's like betrayal is a real important thing. It's like if tomorrow I made a video, I'm like, all right, guys, here's an NFT sponsorship, by the way. Here's a crypto sponsorship. You guys want to jump? Like, if I made that after how many videos? Come on now. Like, I'm going to get destroyed by you guys, by everyone. I'm going to get destroyed by every single thing on the platform. And that's right. It's a betrayal of the audience. And we all have that one thing that we're pretty hardline on. And, it's for me, it's like scams. So if I turn around tomorrow and I'm like actively scamming fans, well then shit. Okay, I'm like a piece of crap. It's one of the reasons why I think Logan Paul gets away with a lot of the shit that he does, because nobody like. First off, I don't know what age actually watches Logan Paul and for what reason, because I think he just sort of exists. Sometimes I feel he's like a government plant, But he wasn't like one of those dudes who was like scams, all of that, right? He just kind of gets involved with a scam a month, it seems, and his audience doesn't really tend to care. They don't have a reason to hold him accountable because that's not why those people jumped in and subscribed to him in the first place. But yeah, for some people, it's like if CoffeeZilla comes out and he's like actually one of the biggest scammers in the world. That's like, Jesus Christ, you know?
Yeah, then
like,
his career would end, obviously.
Yeah.
Speaking of scammers, I found a new scammer this week I was very excited about.
Oh, Jesus.
Did you ever hear of the channel Disrupt? Maybe
I've
calling him
heard of Disrupt.
Maybe calling him a scammer is a little too hard, but it's
I've heard
the
of
impression I got. So Disrupt is a channel with about 1.5 million subscribers that for the last few years would make like these really well edited, well documented videos talking about like different computer viruses and just random stuff like that. Also, just like I spent a week in VR, I spent a week in the dark, I spent a week underwater, like that type of videos. Anyway, so about, I think it was 6 months ago, he released on his channel an announcement that he's opening up a fundraiser, like either a GoFundMe or something, where he wanted to raise $500,000 to increase the quality of his videos, something like that. And I don't think he hit the $500,000, but he made good money off of that. And anyway, fast forward a couple of months, he now has a separate channel where he's talking about like hardcore Orthodox Christianity, and the Disrupt channel's not doing so hot. So about a month ago, he released a video talking about what he would have done if he would have hit that goal with the $500,000. And he mentions that the thing he was going to do with this $500,000 was buy off the Disrupt channel from the other partner, because it was two partners that owned it. He was going to buy off the channel from the partner and convert Disrupt into a Christianity propaganda channel.
Whoa.
What the?
When I heard
That's
that,
awesome.
I was like, oh my God.
Christianity propaganda.
I was like, I've never...
Are you gonna make a fucking ministry or something?
Why would that
I
work?
just love
Why does he
it.
think that would work? And what
I
demons
don't
does he
know.
have that he's trying to make up for?
Speaking of
isn't-
betraying your audience, I don't think people are going to subscribe to a channel for computer viruses, and then suddenly hardcore shifts.
It's like anybody that buys a YouTube channel and it just turns into something totally different. It's like,
Dude,
have
if you want to
channel-
make a Christianity YouTube channel, I have nothing but respect for that grind set. You go for it, but saying that you need $500,000 to improve your content, only to then say that you're going to use that $500,000 to buy the channel off the partner and then convert it to something else, that's just wild.
I mean, that's
That's
like
genius.
doing the most fucking awful corporate takeover and then like fucking repenting to Christ about it. Like, what the fuck? That's actually so insane. Like this is what I love about like YouTube shit, man. Like sometimes like you'll find that one video, like I would have seen this video in my recommended and not clicked on it, but had I done it, I probably would have fucking laughed for like an hour, 2 hours straight, you know? Like this is like such an insane story to witness. And that channel, like I remember when it came out, it had like, as somebody that investigates into like malware and stuff too, it's like probably one of the most like insanely clickbait like videos. It's like the deadliest hack ever on Minecraft. I'm like, now hold on, who almost died playing a Minecraft game and got hacked through? Come on now. Or some other stupid shit like that. I mean, you made interesting content, you know, spending a week in VR, doing all that stuff, and it worked, but you know, turning it into a Christ channel that's some Gideon shit right there, dude. He quit his channel just to turn to
Gideon,
God.
at least he was upfront about it. Like,
Yeah.
he decided that was what he wanted his mission to be, and like, again, I respect him for it because that's what he wants to do, and he's doing it. So who cares? But it's the weird, like, I need money to improve the content, to then just completely kill the channel and take it a complete other direction. That's just wild.
Yeah, well, he can't convert his partner to Christianity. What makes you think he's going to convert his audience? You know,
Yeah, wouldn't it
start
have been
there.
better financially instead of buying the channel over to just convert the other guys to Christianity and like just then run your channel?
I mean,
like what the?
His plan was about as half-baked. Did you hear about that guy, the North Sentinel Island guy who tried to like go proselytize to the whatever it's called to that island, and he goes to those people who've been cut off from society for like 60,000 years, and they kill him and they just bury him on the beach.
Yeah, they shot at it. Well, he had a moment, a God moment when he was there, and that's probably what really killed him. He got shot in the Bible.
Yeah.
Like a little kid shot an arrow at him, and it hit him, and he lived, and then he left, and then went back the next day, and then died.
Yeah.
Wait,
Because he's
So
like, God's protecting
he's
me.
this religious
makes sense.
guy.
Let's go
I don't
back.
know what sect, but probably like Mormonism or something. And he,
Christian
he was some kind of
evangelist.
evangelist. So he was, trying to contact people who have never heard about Jesus. And so he's like, these people need to be saved because they've never had contact with anyone. And so he hires a sailor or like a fisherman or something to illegally take him over there. And he takes his little boat down there, and they attack him, and he has to swim back to the boat. and then he goes back like twice or something, and then they just kill him. And his body, I think, is still there. It was a helicopter did a flyby to see if they could see his body, and the helicopter blew away some of the sand, and they decided just to leave it there, from what I can tell. But
Yeah, he kept writing about how it was like the last bastion of Satan, and because it was just the last uncontacted tribe of people, so he needed to go and proselytize Christianity to them. I think his name was John.
I'm using that
Forget.
story in a video because I'm talking about like cultural generational differences, and I use them as an example. It's like there's no difference between the generations of the Sentinels or whatever they're called, because they have no interaction with the world, no technology, whatever. And so I went down a rabbit hole and watched like a 2 or 3 hour documentary on it.
so is this like one of those tribes that like you go and visit and they're like super stuck in the past, super like
Oh yeah.
like they've got no technology.
No one
language
has
is
studied
totally
them.
ancient.
Stone
no one
Age.
has studied them. No one's been able to get even really that close. There was a documentary where they got pretty close and like gave them a pig because they've never even seen a pig, and they just killed it and buried it. And they were giving them coconuts,
Aced.
and when they got too close, they started shooting arrows at them. And so there's no record of like any real contact or study of these people in a very, very long time. They use iron-tipped arrows, so they think that they salvage like wreckage from ships and things, but that's about it. And I mean, they
Yeah,
are.
because they got no mining operation.
It is the most cut off society probably in the world. And they've
It's also a very small island.
yeah
It's like a pretty small island
yeah.
off the coast of. Is it on the western coast of India?
It's actually under India's control, I think. So it's west of like Malaysia or something, and it's next to there's actually a pretty big city near. I'll pull up a maps, but there is a big city
Jakarta?
nearby that you can get a direct flight from New York, and you could be within like 50 miles of it. It's like crazy.
Let's do it.
Sentinel Island, but just wild. Yeah. So Myanmar. So just off the coast of like west of Thailand, southeast of India, in the Bay of Bengal.
Yeah, the government of India in '56 declared this a tribal reserve and prohibited travel to it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, you're gonna fucking you're gonna got killed if you go here, dude. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, and it
wild.
seems like anything that approaches, they either kill or bury in the sand. So they kind of have like a repellent towards any kind of modern technology or people. And they have had people who have visited that have gotten them sick. So I think they learned just don't let anybody in. And
You're making it sound like a fucking paranormally cursed area, like the fucking Bermuda
Probably
Triangle.
is,
Like
dude.
you're getting your head chopped the fuck off. I want to go.
It's a really small island.
I want to fucking go, dude. It's from my country,
You'll
dude. I
die.
want to go.
Yo, you
You'll
should
die.
go and
Okay,
get
I'll
a
go with you.
thumbnail of yourself smiling,
Get life
surrounded
insurance.
by the natives.
Dude, I don't think
Yeah.
life insurance is gonna do anything if you're going there. You can just get a ball.
Well, if you die, at least someone will get money if you die. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I guess. We should get like a Kick IRL streamer to go there for us. Like in the
Johnny
Dude,
Somali.
Phineas!
Hey, bro,
Phineas!
go troll the North Sentinelese. Go troll the North Sentinelese, bro. Don't worry about it. You'll be
Dude, I
alright.
would kill to have like fucking Aiden Ross or some like IRL streaming dude like send Neon over there or some shit and just see what the f***'s going on.
They would
I don't
not
know, man.
respect
I mean,
Neon.
Have the red pill community, visit the North Sentinelese
Dude,
people.
you could sound like Sneeko and get them to convert to Islam or something,
Yeah.
dude. I mean, it could be wild.
like set up a boxing clash of the jungle people event.
Dude, it's like
Dude,
sometimes
they'll
you
send
find
in
like
Sneeko and Gideon
Yeah.
at the same time. If you can convert more North Sentinelese people to Islam versus Christianity, you win $10,000.
Didn't Sneeko? Didn't he change to like Christian
I thought it
evangelist
was
as well?
Islam, right, or something?
no, he's Islamic.
Yeah.
He's Muslim.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I haven't seen him in months.
He's Muslim.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Muslim.
I mean, you couldn't tell because every photo I've seen is him in like a nightclub or something. Dude, it's so fun. Every time I see him with a nightclub, I'm like, oh, don't worry, guys. There's a prayer room somewhere in there. It's fine.
Yeah.
He's a progressive.
He's a Christian. He turned his life to
he
Christ.
changed?
Recently?
Wait, this is new?
Yeah.
Dude, come on. He team
Like a
switched?
month ago.
Yo, Nick Fuentes really
Yeah.
putting in the work.
I thought he was a Christian.
So-
I didn't
so
know
are
he
you
He
was
was a
telling me-
Christian. He became a Muslim. Now maybe he's a Christian again.
So are you telling me it's easier to switch Sneeko over from his religion than the Disrupt guy's, co-host producer?
I don't see anything about him being
oh, dude,
Muslim.
he's been Muslim for
Oh,
months
man.
now.
He's been
the second,
praying.
what's his name?
Well, he just turned his life to Christ, so he's apparently not Muslim
I guess
anymore.
not. Dude,
Jesus
I think that
Christ.
might be
Andrew Tate
blasphemy.
fell off and he followed Christ instead.
In 2022, he said, "Stop eating pork." Someone said Gideon is a Muslim. He responded, "I'm not
So
a
I've
Muslim."
seen 2023
Oh, that's
May
a
that
long time
he
ago.
converted to Islam. So I mean, I don't know. It sounds like he's back and forth.
So he converted to Islam and then converted to Christianity in the same year.
Listen, guys, point is, we send him to
Okay,
Sentinel
dude. He
Island
just
and he'll be
tweeted
converted to like
inshallah.
that.
Seems
He
illegal.
tweeted inshallah 4 hours ago. I don't know if you need to go back to.
By the time he
He
gets
could
to
be
the
doing- he
island,
could-
he'll be something different. But
Yeah.
we want him to
Yeah.
carry on his mission.
yeah, but by the
dude,
time
But
this
still-
podcast is out, though, you never know. Maybe he will be Christian.
Well, the thing about it is like no matter what, I feel like we could find I think Johnny Somali, if like, look, I'm willing to help bail him out of Japanese like prison just so he can like skip the country and go here to start the new IRL streaming adventure. I'm like, part of me misses some of these IRL streamers because my God, I have never that is like the stupidest phase of internet content that I've seen kick up lately. IRL content has always been pretty fucking risky with Ice Poseidon back in the day, but like now it's just like, dude, everyone just straight commits crimes, no questions asked, no nothing. Like, it's insane to me how they do it so brazenly,
It works,
But
unfortunately.
but does it though? He's in
yeah.
jail. Like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean, yeah, you're. I mean, point taken.
He created Gideon created a new channel called Gideon, like from the
Yeah.
biblically, and also inshallah. That's still a Semitic term, right? Christianity is still a Semitic religion. You can be an Arabic Christian,
but I think
and still say inshallah.
I think that inshallah is specifically Muslim.
I don't think so. I think that that's just an Arabic word that could be
Dude, we are-
like Allah
dude.
is still God in all Arabic religions.
Dude, it's like so much effort put into a man that doesn't even believe in
Like this is
doesn't
how you
matter.
know. Like guys,
Is
this is
that
how you
Arabic?
judge.
He obviously cares a lot about
This is how you
Christianity.
judge how serious somebody is about their religion. You make it very difficult to figure out what they even believe at any given time.
Yes.
because then you can just like it's like Plato. You could just malleate and like anything else, whatever you wanted to. No,
I don't think he's making it very difficult to believe. He literally says he's turning his life to Christ.
wait, when a month ago?
In September,
Jesus Christ, dude. Okay,
God,
all
he
right.
created a
The
channel called
comment section
Gideon.
is
No,
going
we're talking
to-
about
We're talking about
Sneeko.
Sneeko, bro.
That's not the same guy.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about
Yeah,
Gideon.
Gideon,
we're
he's
talking about
mega
Sneeko,
Christian.
dude.
Oh, I was talking about Gideon this whole
Oh,
time.
okay.
Sneeko converting
We got
to-
wires
That's what I
crossed.
said in the very beginning. I was like, "What are you guys
Okay,
talking
you're
about?"
right, bro.
I thought maybe you're using like the 2019 ChatGPT data or something.
He brought up like he was on the chat GPT right now. It's like, please tell me this man's current religious affiliation.
It's like Hindu.
We were talking about a channel that is a Christian propaganda, and Gideon created a Christian channel. Is what I
I
was
could
saying.
have sworn you mentioned Sneeko at some point.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I
I have not
missed that
said
as well.
Sneeko.
I was talking about Sneeko, yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, no, Sneeko's a Muslim.
Yeah, well, point
Yeah.
is like I'm gonna believe both these guys are there. I still agree that someone should fund the Mr. Beast games of like sending them over to the Sentinel Islands, the North Sentinel Islands, and see who can convert how many before the iron-tipped arrow flies through one of their
And,
heads.
and
okay?
don't
Like,
tell
it's-
them that there's people there. Like, just tell them this is an abandoned island.
See, if you're gonna do that, you have to get a Johnny Somali. Like, both those guys are still intelligent enough to read a f***ing like Wikipedia article. Johnny is an intelligent dude. That guy looked at a construction f***ing site and ran in with trespass without even thinking.
Yeah, that was
Like, come on. Like, I remember clips from that. It wasn't him, but I remember clips where they had like these women-only trains. You know what I mean? In like Japan, and they still ran through it. I'm like, man. If this guy tried doing this in like Saudi Arabia or something, it's like, dude, we would see the first Kick.com steak-sponsored beheading right now in front of us, dude. They don't give a. But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be, you know what I'm thinking? It's like at some point these guys are gonna go to like the holy sites. You know, like they're gonna go to like Jerusalem, like Mecca, and like start IRL trolling there. Like that's what I'm.
Dude, it is
actually
inevitable.
Kind of
It is
for.
absolutely inevitable.
Dude, I can't wait for one of these guys to go to like the Grand Mosque in like Mecca and like start IRL streaming there. And in like 30 seconds they get like fucking hunted down, dude. It's gonna be insane to see. But yeah, that's one of the other things. Have you guys seen like how much gambling has been going on with the old kick? XQC wagering like $3 billion
I don't know, every
or
time
some
I
shit
think,
like that.
dude, that
Up
XQC
to almost
drama
3
this
billion.
week was sickening. That whole thing, reacting to wars.
Yeah, I avoid SQC.
That to me was so like wild when he had like, remember like 10 years ago on YouTube, like fucking I want to say 10 years ago, if like you made any video on a national tragedy, you would get fucking destroyed, right?
Yeah.
Like that, there was like an unwritten rule, you know. But now it's like, I remember when I saw that on the timeline, I wasn't even surprised, nor did I question it being fake. So for anybody who doesn't know, in the audience, XQC had this. He's a reactor boy, you know. And Tim, you know a lot about reactions, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, my video didn't age very well. I made a video where XQC had reacted to one of my videos. And I made a video joking about how people made more money off of my content than I did, because I got like, I don't know, 5 million extra React views compared to what my video got, you know. And I was just kind of joking about it, but I basically concluded going, it's fine, you know. And I actually revealed that XQC was the only one whose team reached out and asked for permission. So I was like, it's kind of cool. And then all this drama went down with XQC, and I'm like, oh, like it makes it look like I'm like on his team or something now. But yeah.
Okay, well, kudos to him for asking you for permission, I guess.
Yeah, congratulations on that. Actually, I've never seen a fucking message from his
And
team,
it was his producer, and I realize now this is what it was. He wasn't going to ask for permission to do the Twitch stream and actually do the reaction. He asked for permission to put it on YouTube because he knows the algorithm's going to like allow me to see that he's posting the same content, and I was going to strike him, right? So now that I know that, I kind of don't want to give it as much credit, because I do think it was more of a, should we put this on YouTube? We've already reacted to it, probably.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I mean,
probably
that's
more
always
what happened.
been one of the
In
biggest
his
still,
defense,
you know,
I think
still.
reacting to things on Twitch I don't think it negatively impacts the channels. It's the re-uploading that there's the discourse about.
That's the thing that flips things around.
And that was my conclusion in the video, was like, listen, I mean, I don't mind people reacting to content. It's more of just an ego problem, the idea that someone with a lot of viewers can make money off of it and you feel bad, but it's not, in the end, whatever. And my big thing was Hassan's reaction to the video, where he just got up and walked away.
Yeah.
And used my content to babysit it. And I had heard about him doing this, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go see what his reaction was. You got up in the middle of the video. Oh, dang it. That sucks.
No, that's awful. That's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in a really weird spot with reaction content altogether. Because
I mean, we just had YouTube's cool with it, dude. YouTube's cool with reactors showing up to your house now. They don't go.
Yeah, they update the photo for your real estate app. React.
Dude, that's still so insane. Like, fucking YouTube was like both siding that situation. I'm like, dude, if I showed up to anyone's house because they criticized, like, here's the thing: if I showed up to Boogie's house or you showed up to my house, that would just be bad news. You don't do that. You don't go above and beyond, right? Like, you don't go to the internet. You don't. Same with like Sniper Wolf and Jack's Films. Like, you don't just go to anybody's house. Caleb, you wouldn't go to any other YouTuber's house when you're in like the middle of like a heated debate with them. No.
No.
Yeah, exactly. No, she wouldn't. No one would. Like, that's a fucking very quick no. Bro, she goes up in front of the house. She puts a fucking poll on Instagram, and YouTube's like, okay, we're going to take away monetization for a little bit, okay? You can't be doing that. And then they look at Jack. It's like, now, hold on. You got to be a little less critical of these people stealing content. That's just, come on. What the
Yeah,
like, dude,
I think they're so
no way.
afraid of supporting the guy who who was bullying her online. You know, they don't want to be seen as doing that. Such a lame excuse, but
And especially when it's like, oh, it's like you're bullying. I'm like, come on now, where's the bully? It's like, it's like at the end of the day, it's like he's doing like an actual net positive by crediting the people that the content gets completely yoinked for him. But to whittle it on back to the old X or whatever, right? And he's always an interesting character. For anybody that doesn't know, he was doing XQC reaction clips to like the Gaza, like Palestinian, like Israeli-Palestinian situation. So there's a lot of up footage right now on the internet. Okay, like a lot of like I would say this is the first conflict in the history of the world where you are able to see so much information and at the same time misinformation, right? Like
at the same time.
Every time a video clip comes out, I have a rule: wait 72 hours, then see if there's like, you know, if the video clip is real or not, right? Like, what's the community notes? XQC will just like put on like actual missile strikes, and like his commentary is like, "Whoa, oh my God, that's wild."
It's wild. The whole situation is just insane. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about it
And then
with like
responding
YouTube
with
as
money.
well too. Yeah.
The XQC response was just like,
dude, his
soulless.
response with like the fat stacks of cash after reacting, I'm like, dude, this is just like
It's too aware.
God tier.
It's like the Boogie thing. You're just too self-aware of what you're doing. It makes it worse. But you know, okay. Like let's say you're like a war guy who does ballistics, you know, and you have a video about how rockets fly and all this kind of
That's
stuff.
fine.
It's like this is your heyday, man. This is your
dude,
this is your time.
At least it's content.
Yeah,
at least it's content.
And you follow this stuff. You have something to inform us about it. You know, you can be like, that's a fake rocket for this reason. That one's a long distance one, and you can give us some insight. You know,
one of my favorite channels on YouTube, one of my favorite creators is a guy called Donut Operator.
Oh yeah,
and he uploads videos all the time about like shooting breakdowns and like up scenarios. Now, from the outside, you could be like, oh, this man's just like profiteering off of tragedy or building his audience. And that would be true, but with the one critical distinction that he is a former LEO and a pretty, like, he knows what he's talking about. When
and
he does
it's
a breakdown,
educational content. It's actually
Exactly.
educational content. There is no semblance of education in XQC's reaction to
it's like
a war.
when I see military operations, some of my favorite videos on YouTube is like when they get like a Navy SEAL or like an actual Marine or like a fucking soldier to sit down and dissect like these plannings. Like one of my favorite gaming videos ever was like, you remember when Modern Warfare 2019 came out and they had that mission where they're clearing the house, right? Like the terror like house in London. They had like this Navy SEAL from like South Korea, and he was just like they got him to play the game, and like the way that he played the game was so weird because he got super into it, and he was like clearing the rooms, like checking under beds and everything. I'm like, what the f-? This guy's like reliving a raid right now in front of me. But it's like, yeah, when people have insight and actual things to offer, the video is entirely different. When you're some gambler on kick.com, it's like, what the f are you gonna add to a situation, you know?
Yeah,
like,
especially when he's made videos like, I learned about the Israeli-Gaza conflict, so you don't have to. This is like a video on the XQC's channel.
Bro, that video has unironically my favorite quote in YouTube history. Like unironically,
why
it's the
don't
best.
they just make Landia? Is that the quote? That's the best.
Yeah,
quote
he's like, yo, why don't we just take away Israel Palestine and just like make one country called Landia and put them in? I'm like, dude,
oh my God,
bro, it's like the greatest insight ever offered.
Yeah.
Like that video should be played in school. Like
should be part of his intro.
Like, honest to God, it was the funniest shit. It's like imagine you sit down and you actually do the research, but none of it went through into your head. Like went in one ear, out the other. I'm like, dude, this is like I had to sit back, and I cut this part out of the video, but I sat back and I'm like, congratulations, man, you blew me the fuck away.
That might have been
today.
the worst geopolitical opinion I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Let's just make Landia.
But, like, you know, what do you expect? It's like, you know, there's such a flood of this kind of content now. And I feel like a lot of the YouTube audiences doesn't care because now we're like, to them, it's like, it's just their personality kind of responding to a thing. I don't know if it's also like people are coping with a really f***ed up situation by putting on somebody else and like kind of experiencing it together, you know? Maybe there's like that aspect. To me, I just kind of look at it and I'm like, dude, there's just some, like, you don't need to build your channel this hard, you know? You don't need to, like, build it, right? Like, I have kind of a rule when I'm making content, and I want to assume that, Caleb, you kind of have the same rule, too, where it's like when you're covering videos, you kind of cover them in a way where it's like, if it's too serious, it's not, like, on the board. Like, you cross it out.
Yeah.
But if you can kind of make something funny, you do it, right? Like, there's a lot of YouTubers that I would love to cover that have up things going on, but sometimes there are YouTubers that are just so degenerately that I'm like, like back out of it. Like it's just there's so many like as long as the story is funny or it can be like comedically portrayed or there's something you can learn, sure. But
it's like covering the OceanGate thing. like the Titanic Ocean Gate sub. Like, I feel like anyone can kind of talk about that and make that entertaining. I mean, yeah, there was a few sub engineer guys who got like millions of views. It was like their day to shine, kind of. But like war, like an ongoing conflict, and you probably haven't even watched the video ahead of time, so you don't even know what you're walking into. It's like, oh, that's a little tricky.
Like it's such a wild, like, tricky rabbit hole to get down into, but it seems like it's what the audience is kind of okay with.
There is so much history. There is so much history that, XQC walking into a 10-minute long explained video is not going to have.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're looking at a country that has, been there since, like, the mid-40s, and it's like, now you want to fucking talk about the situation that's existed for decades or whatever? Like, I don't know. It's, and it's one of the things where it's, like, at least for people like that, like, that they don't have to do this for content, because, like, he's, like, a pretty seasoned Overwatch professional. He could pretty much load up any video game, at least to this day, and still do really well. And I've seen him play Counter-Strike. I've seen him play a lot of shit. It would probably be better for XQC. Like, I would watch content from him. He does
not need a trend hop that well. Like, no. Why does he feel the need to do something? This isn't for his career. Yeah. He could react to Sunny V2 videos and Mr. Beast videos instead. He doesn't need to react to something like this.
If I was to unironically watch him, it would probably be for, like, his insights playing video games, right? It's like I watched him for his insights on, video game, like, degenerates, like some of these people in the community, or like people hacking.
I'll be honest, I wouldn't watch him for insights. I don't think insights is his strong suit.
Insights in video gaming stuff, like
even in video gaming, I feel like watching him would be for because he's funny and quirky, and he can.
Yeah, because you're saying, like, Cheeto.
He could get mad. Like, I'd watch an XQC Rage compilation or XQC being a dumbass compilation. Okay, I'd watch that. That sounds hilarious.
Now,
yeah, I mean, they're just
I think XQC's a smart guy. Do you think he? I mean, relatively, right? Do you think he's aware of this being seen as being a really bad move, and it's almost like his brand to just be in the drama all the time? I mean, do you think it's something that he likes? He always wants to.
I'm
glad you're mentioning it, because I've been saying for the longest time, when someone does something, let's say it's a level 6 bad thing to do, okay? They're going to get canceled for it, and it's going to push them to be the villain, because now their audience that is supporting them is supporting the villain. So a week later, they're going to be doing a level 7 bad move, and then they're going to get canceled again for that. And suddenly, they become more and more radicalized towards that side. They will continue to fall deeper and deeper down that rabbit hole of remaining a radicalized person purely because that is what their audience knows, and that's how he thinks the world sees them anyway.
Yeah, and it's also easier to be the bad guy than to, like, grow as a person and, like, realize, I f***ed up, maybe I should, like, whittle on back. That's, like, kind of admitting to you taking an L, and in today's day and age, nobody's wanting to ever take a fucking L, right? Like, that's kind of one of the big things. But yeah, he's listen, I wish the best for almost everyone in this world. And yes, that also includes Boogie, as sad as hard as it is to get that thing thrown out. But, because, like, here's the thing. Nobody wishes bad on anybody, because it's like, what does that get you? Like, that just makes you a sadder person, right? But, for these guys, it's like, dude, you gotta put in the f***ing effort. I can only meet you, I can only meet you halfway. You have to, like, change and be better. And maybe he might, like, realize, is this worth getting $100 million from Kick? In his mind, probably. Like, maybe, like, being the bad guy is great if I can be, like, one of the richest people afterwards. But then, I don't know. People have different fundamental, like... some people value a lot of the money. I personally value the connections that I build more than the money. I value the connections I make with the community and friends like, you guys here. I'd rather, like... If you gave me, like, $50 million, or I'd be vilified by, like, especially my podcast co-hosts, I don't think the $50 million would ever cross my mind, because... At least there's, like, a mental thing where it's like, do you really want to be hated? Is the money worth it in the long term versus, like, your reputation? I guess that's what people value the most, right? And I don't think for XCC it matters, because he's like, get the bag, get out.
I think he thinks he's a villain anyway, so at this point you might as well just...
Yeah. Even though I don't think he's a villain. I've seen plenty of villains on the platform, okay?
I don't think he's a villain either.
Yeah. He hasn't done shit, really, to warrant being the villain.
Look, I think he's insensitive and he's obtuse, but I don't think he's a villain.
I think he's just stupid.
Yeah, like a real villain is like fucking EDP 445 or some shit like that.
Zerka,
that's a fucking real evil villain.
What do you guys think about Zerka?
Zerka.
Zerka?
Yeah, Zerka.
I don't know. I'm not a huge
that
fan,
dude
to be
is
honest.
insane, bro. That guy is
Yeah.
fucking wild.
Isn't it crazy? Like how? I mean, that guy's actually really crazy.
Yeah, I
He's
saw a
right
clip
now
of
trying
him.
to find Aiden and beat him up.
Oh, let's go. I saw a clip of him.
Wait, what?
So we found another
He's like-
contestant for Sentinel Island.
Aiden is deleting his kick channel. Aiden is deleting his kick channel, so he's mad and he's like, "Pull up, Aiden! Pull up! I'm gonna beat your ass! I'm gonna find you when you're live streaming later and beat your ass!"
Is this in Miami? Yeah, your dog. Like, what the? Wait, this is in Miami.
Yeah,
I swear to God, I f***ing hope Rockstar puts these characters into GTA 6, dude. I really f***ing hope
Yeah,
that they have Insanity just randomly showing up in Vice City.
Dude,
There's no
the-
fucking
Zerka,
way.
for me, the wildest Zerka clip I've ever seen is him calling out Andrew Tate for claiming that he broke out of the Matrix. However, Andrew Tate didn't break out of the Matrix because Andrew Tate is not blaming it all on Jews when it is in fact Jews' fault. That's a Zerka clip. I could not.
classic Zerka.
Right? It's like your
This
common Zerka
dude.
W. You know what I'm saying?
It's like witnessing a different fucking planet of people.
Right?
You know,
Oh my
like
God.
what the. It's like if you took it's like if shame was a part of the human body and you could just surgically remove it, this is what you would get. It's like the $6 million asshole. Like that should just be a fucking movie. Like I feel like the CIA crafted these douchebags like fucking decades ago.
It's awesome, dude.
And now they've escaped the test tubes and are fucking causing havoc, bro. I cannot believe. Is he actually like on streams like pulling up or trying to pull up to his place?
I saw a clip this morning and I didn't really look too far into it, but that is pretty much what he said verbatim. And I think he tweeted it earlier or something. I saw that as well, but it's weird because I feel like that guy is like such a loudmouth, and he's so just, you know, crazy and against the grain and stuff, and just like he calls himself a pedophile and like all this weird shit. And he is like, and at the same time, I would say he's kind of harmless. Because he's so far on one side and he's so sure of himself and he's so like assured in his beliefs and everything. I don't think anyone watches him and takes him seriously. And maybe if they do, it's like 50 people, like about 50 people. Maybe.
I mean, but that's some of the defense some of these people have too. It's like, how can you be so crazy and psycho when you when like every single thing you do is like a fucking level 11 tier of like craziness, right? Like when you have no seriousness, when you're completely this character all the time, it's like, yeah, nobody can take you seriously, which is one of the reasons why I never like looked into it. And like everybody else in that entire sphere of influencers, it's like at least you could see like they have a moment of being real. This guy is just like a walking Grand Theft Auto NPC. Like,
Yeah, it's weird.
He doesn't give a shit, dude. I'm blown away. Like I cannot believe. Like I don't know. That guy's weird. Maybe
Yeah,
he
that
might
guy's
pull
weird.
up, and if he does, that's going to be a clip worth watching.
Good
but,
content.
Yeah,
Dude, I love that part.
It's the evolution that a lot of channels go down, though. I mean, they get the dopamine, they get the views. You guys know how this works, you know? And they do something dramatic, they do something edgy, and they go back to doing something more difficult, you know, like creating original content or coming up with ideas, doing something like what Ludwig does or whatever. And they realize, man, I just like going down this path. And I just finished a video about YouTube family channels, you know, and you watch,
Yeah.
you know, you go, there are so many YouTube family channels, like there are so many of them, and you go and you watch most of them, and it's like, yeah, this is kind of boring. This is you guys going to the grocery store and you made a Costco run. It's like great, but you see these channels that are doing really well. They're the channels that are doing things you shouldn't be doing with your family, and I think these
please,
streamers.
give an example.
Give you an example.
Oh yeah, give us an example of a
Okay, give us
wholesome
top 10 worst
YouTube-approved
child abuse
ad-
cases from YouTube families. Go
you
for
know,
it.
there was this. Okay,
Watch Mojo style.
A good example is this family called the B family. And they
Oh,
have
I've
like
heard about
a
that.
lot, and you know what? You go through their content, it's like, dude, this is a wholesome family. Although the kids are older, so you know they got consent when they were like probably like 12 or 13, and it's they don't post that much, and they don't take themselves that seriously, and you can tell it's like a fun thing that their family's doing. But that's like the rare, family channel. And I don't know, have you guys heard about this Ruby Frankie situation?
No.
Oh my gosh, she's in jail right now. So
please.
she's this Mormon mom who had a YouTube family channel, and her early videos are just like boring. You know, she's getting like 20 views, and it's about homeschooling and things like that. Yeah, I've seen Mudahar. He did the news search on her. Okay, so she goes and so she starts getting more traction. So she starts making more dramatic content, right? She eventually gets to a point where she's kicked her husband out of the house. She is chaining the kids in a basement, not feeding them, and the neighbor like gets a knock on the door, and it's this kid who's like malnourished. And has tape marks and shit around his arms and legs.
Situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And so he calls 911, and that 911 call's out there. So you can hear him. He's like breaking up, crying on the phone with this kid at his front door, asking for food and water. And they go to the house and find other kids in similar conditions. So they take the kids that way. She's in jail right now. And it's like, how does this happen? And I think this is the thing about, like, you watch these like Twitch streamers, I don't see it as any different. Like, yeah, they're not involving their children and kids and stuff like that in there, but it's that same. It's like that dopamine press that they get when they get involved in the drama and everyone's looking at them and talking about them. And I think it's the same case for XQC. He loves it. Money isn't anything to him. Money is a number to talk about, to get people to click on
like
you.
After
and
a certain amount, it doesn't even matter.
He doesn't even, I bet you he doesn't care at all about the money. He just wants to be in the shit, you know? Like, you could give him $100 million cold hard cash right now and say, don't ever stream again. He wouldn't be able to do it. He'd be like, no, I got to have the camera on.
So you think when like LSF or these subreddit food news articles mention his name, it's like, oh yeah, we're getting there, we're there.
Oh yeah, he's getting a half job.
Yeah.
You know it,
like,
and he just
crazy.
loves it. And if you watch him in interviews where he's talking to people with drama, he's like in the element, man. I mean, he's never more excited and on when that stuff's going down. And so I feel like there are just people like that, and you see it in Hollywood too. You know, the Ruby Frankie girl, I ended the video with this like slow zoom in where she's driving in her car, and she got up to like 2.5 million subs at one point, but she's in her car and she hit like 1 million subs, and she's driving the car with her kids in the background, and she pulls over and just has this like moment where she's like, oh my god, did anybody see it? And like her kids are like trying to talk to her, and like she's just ignoring them, and this is this moment where you really see what it was all about. You know, and this is before all the drama and the 911 calls and everything. We didn't know about that.
Damn.
You know, and it's and then she's this blonde girl who looks like a good stay-at-home mom, and she's got a family of 8, and it's just this wholesome kind of picture.
That is a very wholesome picture.
But it's sad.
I mean, it's like but this is the thing. Like, whenever you have like, I feel like it's a great like kind of topic to end off on. It's like, one of the things that YouTube has as a rule is the protection of minors, right? Like, that's a massive thing in the TOS. And it's one of the reasons why, like, anytime a kid is shown on a video, I automatically blur their face out, even if, like, it's on YouTube anyways, because it's just like, dude, kids, I don't think, can ever give consent to be in YouTube videos properly. Like, I don't think that consent is ever applicable, because it's like, what does a kid know? When like a 11-year-old's face is plastered in front of millions of viewers, potentially, it's like, that could be damaging. Like, that video could paint that kid in a bad light, and people go further, and it's just a bad situation. So, for a lot of these family channels, and for the longest time, it's like, I've always said it, I'm like, anytime that the views drop, wife gets pregnant. 100% of the time. You can always do. Anytime they have a dip in viewership, they're out there working on the babies, okay? Honey, we got to stop the birth control. We got to fucking get this channel up. And their whole, like, life becomes about that. Like, they turn what is supposed to be this intimate relationship between, like, a small group of people into, like, this fucking new season of, like, a reality TV show. And the kids are the ultimate ones paying for it, right? Like, they don't know any fucking better. Their two parents are literally just using them as content factories. And that's all it comes down to.
Yeah.
Like, I remember one of the most up clips I seen, and I forget this YouTuber, but it was like, she was crying, and she was telling her, like, kid to kind of fake a cry so they could get, like, a thumbnail shot, and I'm like, oh
I
my
remember that.
God.
Yeah, I can't remember who that was.
I'm like, the kid is visibly crying, right? The kid has no idea what the YouTube thumbnail is going to do to CTR or whatever. Mom's like, kid, actually, don't shut up. Take this sad photo with me, and let's put it on the internet. I'm like, God damn. Like, part of me sits down, and I'm like, I'm like, you gotta have, like, that's like real sociopathy right there. Because you gotta sit there, I'm like, man, if I have a kid crying in front of me, I'm probably gonna be like, all right, let's just figure out what's going on here. Like, hell, if anybody's crying in front of me, it doesn't matter, right?
About
like,
this.
old person,
Enough
my age,
wrinkles?
whatever. Well, if you were crying in front of me, I'd be like, it's okay, buddy. I'd be like, Caleb, come over here. Hold on. Look at the camera, okay? Let's focus up real quick. There, that's a banger thumbnail. I'm like, you gotta make your face a little bit more scrunched. We're talking a difference between 10 to 16% click through rate here. Good. Yeah, exactly. Like, you gotta be doing shit like that's what you would do if you were like, if your whole life was built around like, shit, how do I make content?
Well, monetizing childhood. You're monetizing someone's childhood. There's just something that just it shouldn't be legal. Like, it's just crazy.
I mean, I don't think in certain cases it is legal, and I'm pretty sure if the government wanted to, they'd be like, maybe we should look into fucking shit like child fucking labor laws or something. Who knows?
And I'm like you. I like, you have kids, right, Mudahar? Or I don't even know if you.
No, not yet. Not yet.
But,
I don't have kids yet. I have a wife.
Yeah. But if you have a family and stuff, I'm like you. I don't show that stuff. I went through. It took me like 4 hours blurring out all the faces in that video. Like, I made that decision, and it was like, track scan. I lost the track, and they put it back on. I kept, but
yeah, like, my thing is like, if like I'll like Jen, I can show on camera because she's like an adult.
Yeah.
Like, if she wants to be. But like, if I ever had kids, I'm like, all right, you might want to stay off the camera, okay?
Yeah.
Dad covers some real up shit on the internet.
Have you been watching PewDiePie's vlogs?
Yeah, I've been watching.
So
those.
on one hand, I love his recent vlogs. We just had a kid that's almost the exact same age, so it's like kind of fun.
Congrats.
Like watching that. But at the same time, I'm thinking, like, I wonder how long he's going to be able to continue this. Like, I mean, if anyone, he's going to be able to pull it off in an ethical way, in the most ethical way. But he doesn't have that consent factor, and it's like, I wonder how long he's going to be able to do that. And I like PewDiePie, so I'm like, I don't know what to think about this.
I think it's a bit different for him because, like, he's got this because he's retired already. I don't think he's doing anything. He's not like doing anything for content's sake anymore. It's like, I have kids, cool. I'll share something cute online, call it a day. It's not like, oh, we got to get like a daily thing. How about we take our kids to Disneyland for the first time and make that a whole video? I'm like, all right, let's.
Yeah, we're using Huggies. Thanks, Huggies.
Yeah, dude, it's kids on the internet, man. I'm telling you. I grew up with the internet, but I'm going to tell you right now, the day I have kids is I'm going to be the most like parental control guy on phone. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
My kids
You guys gonna let your
I don't know.
You guys gonna let your kids go to homeschool? Or I mean, public school?
Probably gonna homeschool, to be honest.
But it's hard finding a good public school just to begin with. That's the issue.
Or private school. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
for me, it's like I want to do a homeschool because like I've been to like we have like good public schools here. I don't want people to act like I don't like the public schooling system, but it's just after being in the public school system as a kid, I noticed that like there is it's not the education that I have a bad problem with. It's like the lack of, I guess you could say, policing on schools. Because I'm like, dude, it was kind of weird to like go to a class and then like go to the school next over, and then you could just like get access to like there would just be kids like openly selling marijuana back then. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I could avoid it, but I don't think tons of kids are
when I talk about
my
like high school experience, it's like the best thing that my high school did for me is that it didn't f me up. Like, I don't feel like I actually gained anything from high school, but at least it didn't ruin me, you know?
Yeah.
And if that's already the bar, that's not a good sign. I don't know.
Well, are you gonna have children, Caleb?
Yeah,
because you have a nice little setup. You can get them. You can send them over and work in the the candy factory.
Yeah,
Oompa Loompas. Yeah, you're gonna be like the most popular dad like on the planet. With all that, you got candy, you got YouTube. It's like you ask kids what they want to be. They want to be a YouTuber today.
Yeah.
That's like more than an astronaut or whatever. And then you got the candy aspect. I mean, that's like a 1-2 punch.
Yeah,
sir. Yeah. I'm kind of I'm sort of a deity for children. Not really.
Clip that.
I will definitely be homeschooling my children. Private homeschool. That's what I would recommend. Private homeschool. That's what was done to me. I was private home.
Yeah, I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Private curriculum.
And the thing is, like, people give this like weird bad rap, and then I'm like, the only homeschool people I know are probably some of the most successful, smart dudes. Like,
yeah, I know a lot of really weird ones. To be fair, I do know a couple successful homeschool guys, but like, it's just because like there's both spectrums, right? Because it's total freedom. Mm-hmm. So like you have people who are just like Gideon and then they're teaching them about the Bible, and that's it. And then you have people who are actually like who have intelligent parents and who enroll their kids in scenarios and get them to do things that are difficult, basically.
Yeah, but
like,
your mom's also
like
her background is teaching, so it's like if anybody's going to run a homeschool,
ag teaching, but yeah.
And what I would argue is, not everybody can maybe pull off the homeschooling thing or whatever, but I would say at least deschooling. Like, spend time talking to your kids about what they're learning, what's going on. You have to supplement all the important things school doesn't teach. All the important things in life, and Well,
it's also a matter of like if you're gonna raise kids, right? And you like if you're not gonna talk to them about life, like if you're gonna be like, all right, you come home from school like 3:15 or whatever, and fire up an iPad or something, and that's like no, you don't do that. Like, where are you getting your actual who's teaching you stuff outside of like English, math, science, all this stuff that you're supposed to generally learn, right? Like, who's gonna teach you about life shit, right?
Yeah, I think being your kid's very own get rich type, like developing like a Tai Lopez type course, but just for your kids, I feel like that would be very beneficial.
Yeah,
I really do. I really do. I think if you taught your kids you have homeschool, you got to learn math. You have to learn
knowledge.
The main thing is being able to get from point A to B. Like that's what you learn in school is how to follow through and do things.
You wake
that's
your
what you're
kid
really
up
learning.
at like 8 o'clock every day. You go into the garage, you show them, you see that? See that?
Yeah.
We're going to get you there one day.
Lamborghini.
And then
Yeah.
when they're like 18, you're like, all right, son, you did it. And you give them the keys at the end.
That would be really funny. But yeah. I mean, because you forget everything that you learn in school. Like, you remember the basic stuff, and then a lot of the stuff you learn is just propaganda anyways. It's not real. It's like history based on location, who was the victors. So being able to have like an extracurricular curriculum of learning would be very important, I think, because that's what my parents made me read all sorts of crazy stuff. Like, my mom made me read Gulag Archipelago when I was a child.
Yeah.
When I was a boy.
Let's go.
And
So, to teach me the evil of communism. My parents taught me the evil of communism. I have a deep fear of the red.
Dude, you're such
Did
a
they
legend.
teach you the evil
God
of
damn.
capitalism?
No, they taught me.
YouTube
they
taught him
me.
the evil of capitalism. Now he's all rounded out.
They taught me They taught me about corporate Marxism,
there you
which
go.
is the evil of capitalism. So
So
Black Rock.
it's like they didn't like fucking throw you into like a propaganda machine. They're like, all right, listen.
no. They just
like-
gave me books.
They're like, Caleb, everything, dude. That is the wild. Like, I fucking love your parents for doing that. By
They're
the way.
awesome.
Like, it's like they just gave you the books. Like, listen, son, everything is fucked up. You got to find something normal out of all of it. Because like that's pretty important to do it. Because like if you teach somebody the evils of one thing, you never tell them like, yeah, the other thing at its most extreme is also bad.
Yeah, I think it's weird because it made me really impartial to a lot of stuff. Like, I don't really care, and it seems like it's easier to learn or like try like the like trying to walk into the point of finding like the real like what is this actually that I'm looking at. It's a lot easier when you start off being impartial. And not just kind of frustrated or just, completely clinging onto one side of your belief and thinking that everything else is bad or wrong. Cognitive bias. I think my parents did a pretty good job not filling me up with biases.
Yeah. So I always say don't teach your children what to think, teach them how to think. Like, prepare them for the world they're going to live in or the future problems they're going to run into, not problems we've already solved or just, conclusions, because they're not even going to remember those anyway. But I don't tell them about my religious beliefs, my political beliefs, any of that kind of stuff. I just I ask them questions and get them thinking about first principles. And, you got me. No, but like, I think that's the healthiest way. It sounds like that's kind of what your parents did. They gave you a mix of things.
Yeah. Yep. They made me chairman of a super PAC for Donald Trump when I was 7 years old. Not really.
My parents have always done education like this, where it's like, son, I want you to get a degree or something, but please just get it in something that matters.
They're like, you need to make money. You need to figure out how to make money, and that's it.
One of the things my dad always said, because I remember when I was telling him, like, hey, Dad, I was thinking of, like I joked around him, like, hey, Dad, I was thinking of film school. And my dad's like, well, I might as well just burn money. So, I mean, what the like, he did the filthy prank meme where it's like, all right, son, let's burn it.
So you didn't have like so your dad being, a physician and all that, did he put push like science, engineering on you really, really hard, or was he?
Oh, he was like, "Hey, are you interested in like medicine?" And then I was like, he sat me down and he's like trying to guide me through it. And then like I remember a while into it, he's like, "You're gonna be the worst fucking doctor in the world. So do me a fucking favor, please don't ever be a fucking doctor." Because like my dad's one of those guys where he's like mentally the brain is very good in certain things. It's like my dad's like, "I suck ass in math." Okay,
You're killing me,
That's
Caleb.
why I'm a fucking doctor. Or that's why I like cut people up and like fix people up for a living. I suck at math. And then when my dad realized that that's where my mind was, like I loved like math, like that was unironically my favorite thing in school. Where I'm like, oh shit, math class, all right, cool, plug in numbers and fucking succeed, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I ended up going to like programming. That's where my mind went to. And my dad's like, listen, I don't want to say don't be a doctor, but like for the love of humanity, do not be a fucking doctor because
I'm a medical school dropout. So I was in. I went. I was a firefighter and paramedic, and I went back to school, quit. And I realized, for many reasons, why I wasn't gonna go down that path. But yeah, dude, I know how that goes. I'm on a 72-hour fast right now, Caleb, and you're killing me.
Sorry.
But speaking of it, guys, we had a pretty fucking killer episode today. We actually talked about a lot of things. It wasn't just like the YouTube stuff. I really do feel like the end segment here it should just be like honestly its own episode. I really do appreciate the insight that gets offered. I feel like everyone in this room can be a great parent on the sole fact that none of us are thinking of family channels or anything down the road.
None of us took the steak sponsorship, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
But if we do, it'll be okay.
Yes!
We'll figure out how to do it right, won't we, guys?
Yeah,
You're gonna make the Oompa Loompa family.
Let's go, baby. This will be ethical child exploitation.
Exactly. If anyone can do it right, it's me.
Listen, guys, there's a right way to exploit children and a wrong way to do it.
There's my way and there's the wrong ways.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Listen. There's a bit. It's like a
Slap
spectrum.
them for the thumbnail and then give them some sour boys.
Yeah, it's like listen. There's two spectrums. You can be the 8 passengers, or you can be the Ryan's Toys reviews. Okay, what's gonna happen? Are you gonna go to jail, or is your kid gonna be in the Walmart gaming section? Okay, come on now.
Okay, please end
let's
the
be real.
episode. This is getting too dystopian. I can't anymore.
Dude, let me tell you, I'm surprised that there's no Black Mirror episode on f***ing kids' YouTube channels. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. Yet. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been Tim the Goat showing up on our channel, on our podcast. Great channel, great man, awesome creator. Do you have anything
Nice
to do
mustache.
in... Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me on. This is amazing. I started a new channel, Timmy 2 Cents, and it's a commentary channel. Got a few videos up, and I'm gonna keep pumping content out as I can. We'll see how it goes.
Cool.
Well,
Cool.
That's kick ass. Oh my god. Yeah, wait, holy shit! I just saw the fucking most fucked up thing on YouTube. Jesus Christ. I'll leave that for another day. But ladies and gentlemen, if you want to check out Nux Taco, obviously he makes great content. Oompaville makes great content and great candy. All right. Candy that, by the way, I'm pretty sure is way too fucking sugary for Canada, but hey, we'll leave that to the fucking food boards to decide. You got me, Mudahar, if you want to check out my channel as well, Somewhere Near Gamers. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out.